5 years and still talking. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, this is Alex Bennett. This is the Ramble. It goes from now until midnight. That would be Eastern Daylight Time, ladies and gentlemen. And once every couple of weeks, we like to talk to somebody very, very special. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a place called Lake Oswego.
You say it's so funny.
Whatever.
Lake Oswego.
And it's in where is it, folks? Iowa. No, it's in Oregon, and it's right near Portland, right? It's like a suburb of Portland. Is that what it is?
It's the first suburb to the south of Portland.
I see. And she's been living there for how many years are now there? It's been a while.
9.
9? Yeah. She went from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon.
Which confused a few friends.
And she was born in Portland, Oregon. So, Portland has played a great part in her life, I imagine.
Well, I left here when I was 15. So, I visited my father and my brother and my aunt after, I had moved away. But I didn't spend that much time here. So... I consider New York City my home. The moment we got there,
you felt like
I knew this is where I belong. And I still do. I'm just in the wrong place.
I originally, when I first came here, felt that way as well, because as I grew up as a kid in California with Jewish parents in Marin County, we were one of few Jewish families in Marin County. In fact, they had the Marin County Jewish Community Center, and I think there were only 300 families that were members of it.
I was going to say you always were alone there.
Well, when I was living in North Beach, I thought that the first name in my religion was Dirty because they all called me a dirty Jew. I just always felt out of place, And then when we moved to New York, I went, this is like, I've always felt like I've lived here, because my mother was from New York,
was the rhythms of the city, and I just got it. We lived in a bunch of cities before we got to New York, and I was pretty well convinced that Houston was not going to be my permanent home, nor Chicago, nor Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But New York was it's like I've been looking for this place all my life.
Yeah, but something I got to tell you, I did miss Houston when we left it.
I miss people. I didn't miss Houston.
You didn't miss Houston. Okay. Here was the thing that I noticed about Houston. When we left it and we came to New York, and then we were here for a while, and we would call friends in Houston, we would suddenly notice they had a Texas accent. But we never heard that while we were there. And you came out of it with a Texas accent that lingered for years.
My great Aunt Edith, who lived here in Portland, and we always talked once a week for an hour or so on the telephone. After we had been in Texas for a while, and this was before we left, she said, Ronnie, I'm going to send you a check, and I want you to go get some elocution lessons because you sound too much like a Texan. And I remember how shocked I was. We hadn't been there very long, and some people we'd met came to dinner one night, and as they were leaving at the door, I heard myself say, and I couldn't make myself stop, y'all come back now, you hear?
Yeah. Well, you see, I don't mean this as any, let me turn my little light on here. I don't mean this as any degradation of the Texans and their ability to speak the English language. But it is lazier English.
You drop a lot of the endings.
Yeah, you drop a lot of endings and you talk like this, it's kind of lazy. I'm not saying that it's wrong. Some people have said that actually some of the Southern dialects are the purest American dialects.
You know what, though? When we go through like this particular year coming up, when there are going to be a lot of people around, or just anybody in Congress that comes from the southern states, and other reasons to hear people who come from there, I'm surprised. It seems to me that over our lifetime, we've kind of gotten over local regional accents. They're not so many
They're
anymore.
not as prominent, right? Yeah. If you go to Texas, you don't hear the Texas accent as much. It's not as pronounced as when we lived there.
I think it's media that we all hear kind of this bland, even English language.
So, but what did we default to? Did we default to California? Did we default to New York? I mean,
not New York.
Well, I always liked the New York accent, you know.
There are many.
If I met up with a woman who had like a real New York accent, man, it made me hot. I don't know why.
Jeez. Anyway.
In fact, a girlfriend I had after we broke up, Naomi, God, she had like a real New York accent. I mean, she was from Long Island. That's how you pronounce it, folks, Long Island. But you're right. I mean, we have, because of television, because of media, still you go into some of those southern states and they're speaking a language you don't speak.
I haven't been to the South in decades.
I mean, when you see like on television, there's a demonstration and it's in the South and they talk to people, it's really heavy, okay? But
not all the time. It's not universal anymore, I don't think.
I always thought, being from California, I didn't have an accent, and then I was told by people in other parts of the country they could hear an accent, you know.
Yeah, I can't describe it. There's one here, too, that I noticed when I first came back here.
Yeah.
That I'd always insisted that Oregon didn't, or at least I don't know about the rest of Oregon.
You felt that Oregon didn't have one, yeah.
But it does, and it is a certain way you say certain vowels.
Yeah.
Which I can't duplicate anymore.
Right.
But, anyway.
Yeah. So anyway,
we all understand each other more or less.
Yes. So to get you feeling like Texas, how y'all feeling?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
You know, I want to complain about something.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
You know that this is the Medicare annual enrollment period where you can do all kinds of things of changing your medical coverage with Medicare.
Yeah. That's for our older listeners who are listening, which is most of you. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in my case, every year I check to see how much my Part D prescription drug coverage has changed, and do I need a new one or can I stick with this one? Mm-hmm. And Medicare made a very big deal that they had updated and redone their website, and it was easier to use, and there was more information this year. Mm-hmm. So the day came. It's really tedious work to go in and do this. And so finally I worked my way up to it a week or 10 days ago. And I went and all my drugs are there and their dosages and all of that. Mm-hmm. And I pulled up there's several, in fact, in my case, there are 28 plans I can choose from. So I pulled up the first one, which is the one I have now. Mm-hmm. And there's my list of drugs, and it lists the name of the drug and what the dosage is. And then it has a column that says something like number, I think. And my initial guess was the number of pills or whatever that you're taking, and then how much it will cost in retail and after your deductible, and all the ways they break it up just to confuse us all.
Right.
And so I looked at it, and it said that I have 2 inhalers. I mean, the other 2 or 3 or 4 drugs I take aren't very big deal, and they were fine. And the 2 inhalers that I used, one of them said that it was going to cost me $25,000 a month, and the other was $15,000 a month. Well, that's out of the question.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that much now, and I'm not going to pay that next year. I'll just have to live without them if they can't find a substitute.
Right.
So I then, as I said, there are 28 plans I can choose from. So I started working my way down. Well, some have ridiculous monthly premiums, like, several $100s a month. Well, I need that to go toward the 25,000. And others have other reasons not to choose them. But I went 28 of them, Alex. I went through every bloody one of them. And they all charge something around 25,000 or 15,000 per month. Did you hear that part?
Per month?
Per month.
This is for the insurance policy?
I'm sorry, what?
You say this is for the insurance policy?
For my drugs, yes. Part D of Medicare.
Oh, my God.
And so I thought, well, I'm just going to have to call around. Well, the thing is, if you call Medicare, those people can answer very simple questions, but they can't go beyond that.
Well, they have to look at the same book you're probably looking at online.
Well, I don't really care. But the point is, you don't talk to them for any length of time.
Yeah.
And then I called the insurance company that covers me now.
Yeah.
And we won't mention their name because when somebody finally answered the phone, and I explained I needed to discuss the price of these drugs,
right?
She said to me, well, we're going to have to go online. Are you at your computer? I said, I'm on the page with my drugs. She said, well, now let's start at the beginning. Go to your computer and up at the top, type in www. I said, stop this. What information do you need to get on the page with me? And she said, well, let's start and make sure you're in the right place. So start with www. No, we're not going to have this conversation. Thank you very much, but I think I'll go now. And I tried a couple of the times because every time you call back, you get a different person. So maybe once in a while you get.
Oh, I've done that. I've done that for certain things, not something like this, but certain things, some company I'm dealing with or whatever. And I've called back twice, 3 times and gotten 3 different answers.
Well, there's that, but that's not what I'm discussing right now.
Yeah.
So I thought about it and I made lists of people I could call. And one of the places I called was OHSU, which is the medical center and medical school and the place where I get all my treatment.
Right.
My cancer and my COPD. And there's a department called Patient Relations. I think that means complaints, but I just wanted to ask a question. Yeah. And the woman said she was really sorry they didn't help with Medicare or any other insurance. So I hung up. And I'm still trying to figure out places to call. And, there's an organization called in different name in different states, but it's sort of like Sheba.
Yeah.
And they are trained volunteers. I've met a few of them, 2 of them in my life, and they are just brilliantly informed on all things Medicare. I'll track down one of those people. But before I could get around to it, the woman I had talked to at the patient's place, at the whatever I called it, at the medical center, she called, my phone rang, she called me back. She said, one of my coworkers overheard my end of our conversation, and she said, there's a secret number I'm not going to mention to you on this where, and an actual person answers. You don't have to go to the phone tree, and they can probably help you. Here's the number. Well, apparently it's a secret number. And I thought, yeah. I gave it a whirl, and I got a person answered the phone, a real person.
Yeah.
And I explained my problem that I was only paying like $100 a month now, and they're telling me online that I have to pay $25,000 a month next year. And she said, no. She said, are you on that page? And I said, yes. She didn't make me go through the whole thing with
www. Yeah.
And she said, you see the row where it says number? Tell me what it says. I said, it says 60. And she says the column before it tells you either how many pills or how many inhales you have, depending on whether you're using pills or inhalers. And in that case, on the $25,000 one, it said 60 because I use it twice a day. She said, now there's a place where you can edit the column that just says number or whatever the word is. I've forgotten maybe. And she said, just go in and change that 60 to 1 and then reload the page. And what the Medicare website had done is they thought what that ended up doing was ordering me 60 inhalers per month.
Oh.
One inhaler with 60 doses. So people all over the country are running into this unless they've fixed it by now. That was about a week ago. But, and there's still some problem. I mean, it's still way high that I can't afford. So I'll go ahead and I'll deal with that and I'll talk to people. But whoa, what a mistake. They think I'm going to get 60 inhalers. This made sense to somebody.
Yeah, you thought they wanted to know how many inhales you did a month.
No, I didn't want to know anything. They were telling me.
Yeah. Boy,
I didn't.
That's I mean, but and you were not internet savvy or filling out forms on the internet savvy.
I'm not afraid of it because I started using them.
Right. So I mean, you know that
than a lot of people my age. But
what about somebody your age who's completely mystified by all of this? They can't do anything. To begin with, there's the assumption that they can even know how to go online. I mean,
that's how they were treating me.
I think that's why they were treating you that way. Is they probably find that most people.
Well, they don't have to have that tone in their voice, like I'm an idiot.
They don't know you from an idiot.
But I wouldn't treat anybody that way.
Yeah. I am, not the same thing, but I have all this online stuff where I have to deal with tech companies, servers, people who run servers. And it's amazing the range of people I deal with in knowledge. If I get somebody, I hate to be kind of racist about this, but if I get somebody who speaks good English, who apparently is in the United States, I get a good answer.
Not every time.
I have gotten some very good answers. But if I wind up,
not everyone who works in the United States is good at this.
But if I talk to somebody in India, it becomes a real problem. I found that I say now, would you just turn me over to somebody in the United States? And in most cases, they will gladly do that.
I've had terrific help from somebody in the Philippines, too. I had a wonderful helper in the Philippines once. I don't think for me, it has nothing to do with geography.
You want me to give you the best one? I make a call. It's to Amazon. But Amazon is now farming this stuff out to, I don't know, Sri Lanka or something, right?
They all do.
And I'm talking to the guy, and in the background, people are shouting and screaming and having a party. And I said, can you turn that down? Can you ask them to be quiet so I can talk to you? I couldn't even hear him. And he said, oh, no, I can't do that. I went, I finally said, would you turn me over to somebody?
See, you're blaming that on a country instead of a person or an office.
Well, this is a whole lot. Well, anyway, so I said, turn me over to somebody in the United States. So next thing I know, I wait a little while, that standby music they have. And I get somebody in the United States, and I ask them a question, and she gives me the answer to it. And I said, by the way, I have a complaint about your customer service.
Oh, please don't tell me you did this.
Wait a minute. I said, every time...
She can't do anything. Why do you do that?
Well, listen to me. It happened twice. I said that I had called Amazon and gotten this office in which everybody in the background is having a party. And she said, that's strange because I get them turning stuff over to me, and in the background, I always hear people having a party.
Yeah,
And she said, that's very unprofessional, and I will report it. I think something should be done about it.
There's so many things that I guess I just don't have time for that much anymore. It's just do whatever is necessary to get done as quickly as possible these kind of boring tasks.
Yeah.
They tend to take up so much space and time. And a lot of things is hard to. I got lucky with the woman that they gave me the phone number to call, that she just automatically knew what my problem was. I mean, maybe
did you know,
lots of people are having that problem.
The person you called, who were they? Were they somebody who worked with the government? I mean, was it?
I'm sorry, what?
With the person you called.
I thought I told you, the Sheba person.
Sheba?
I'm sorry. Yes, Sheba.
What?
I told you, I explained that to you 5 minutes ago.
Oh, I didn't get that, to be honest with you.
There are 50 of them, one in each state. They're called different things. California has one called, I don't know, something with the word California in it. In Oregon, it's Sheba. Other places have different names. Sheba is an acronym. I don't know or care what it stands for. And these people are highly trained volunteers to help people with Medicare.
Wow.
And I used to know two of them that we were on a committee or a board together 7 or 8 years ago. Two of them that were Sheba helpers with Medicare. And they were just amazing. They knew everything. And I'm pretty sure.
But they don't give this number out freely.
I don't know. I did not ask.
Well, she said this is a private number. Don't.
No, she didn't say I did. It's not what I said.
She said you couldn't give it. She couldn't give it out or something, and then she told you what it was. Something like that.
I'm sorry. What?
When you talk to when you talk to this one woman who gave you that number,
yes,
she was kind of acting like she wasn't supposed to give it out.
No,
that's how I got it.
Well, no.
No, okay. I'm getting old. Be nice to older people, okay?
So anyway, it's not just Medicare. It's also the insurance companies that make it so hard.
Yeah.
And then, they tout that the company that has my coverage this year has got a big thing on their website about how wonderful their customer care is, and they've won all kinds of accolades for their customer service. They were worse than Medicare when I was still calling around.
Yeah.
They're the ones that said to me, well, now go up at the top of your browser. If you got your browser open, and then type in, I would have indicated if I didn't know how to do this, But,
well, I'm kind of very lucky. I think I told you about my insurance because I'm SAG-AFTRA told me as a senior I could get their senior plan for that 20% donut. And it has been terrific. I mean, for what is it, $2,000 a year, which my wife's company pays for, we get $2,500 in dental. We get prescription.
You can't walk in a dentist's office for that amount of money.
Well, no, but believe me, I've had all my teeth taken care of. That $2,500 really helped. Really helped. Usually, usually they're $1,500. This one's $2,500.
Hey, can we not do this anymore?
Well, wait a minute. Let me finish. When it came to drugs, they use a thing called Express Scripts, and you have to buy 3 months at a time. So I buy 3 months at a time, and I thought, oh God, I was paying like $200 a month for my medicine at the time. It's going to wind up being $600, that I'm going to have to pay all at once. And I went in. It's cheaper. I was paying $200 a month right now because they lowered one of my drugs by $75. I'm paying $116 a month instead of $200. For 3 months than I am for $200 a month. I mean, it's incredible. But I'm very lucky that came along, and I'm able to use it, and that I stayed in the union that long, even though I never had any use for it. So, but how you feeling?
I feel okay.
You look good. You look good.
I feel my bigger problem in day to day. This is funny to say after all this time. Is COPD, the breathing problems as opposed to cancer.
And that has nothing to do with the rest of the conditions at all.
What conditions?
Well, I mean, the cancer thing. It has nothing to do with the cancer, the COPD.
It's two different diseases.
In other words, you would have this. If you didn't have the cancer, you would have the COPD. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, and it's much harder to deal with. The cancer, as far as I know, I don't have cancer in terms of having any symptoms of anything.
Yeah.
It's come that time again that next week I have another CT scan to see what the cancer's been doing inside there, how many other organs it's decided to move into. I'm laughing, but I'm terrified. I'm terrified every time.
Yeah. And they do this, what, every 6 months, something like that?
Every 3 months.
Every 3 months. Yeah, boy. Well, my thoughts will be with you, as they say. They always are.
It's not. And when the woman called to make the appointment, I said, "My God, could we just skip it?" And she said, "You don't. It's up to you." And so it's been 3 months, so I'll go.
Yeah. I mean, do you sometimes just say, "Hey, enough of this potchking around, what's it going to say? It's just going to say it's worse or it hasn't spread as much?" I mean, either way, at some point there's a termination to this. And why go through all the terrorizing of myself while this process is going on?
It's good practice.
Huh?
It's good practice. How can I control my terror?
Yeah. No, well, what I'm saying is, you say to yourself, hey, listen, if I go, it's either spread more or it hasn't. And I'm not going to change that by having the scan. You get what I'm saying? And so, therefore, why should I have the scan and terrorize myself? Why don't I just live my life until there's no longer life to live?
Well, it's part of it is that I'm kind of fascinated. Up front, when I realized it didn't take very long, how much time I was going to be spending with medical people in a big deal, huge medical facility. There's always lots of wait time in those situations. So I just decided to study their world. I don't know anything about the medical world. I've been so healthy until now.
Yeah.
And once in a while I'd show up at a doctor's office, but not at a big major medical complex like this. There are 5 hospitals there, for heaven's sake, and a medical school and a dental school and on and on and on. And it's a whole different world from you and me and how we've lived.
Yeah.
They're taking care of people that are at their worst. We're all there. We're either in a lot of pain or we're frightened. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a death thing to be frightened of what they're going to do to all the different things doctors and surgeons and stuff can do to you. It's there's a lot to, especially when you don't understand any of it and you're not part of that world and you don't know how it operates. It's easy to be frightened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it weren't life or death.
Well, it sounds like you're in good hands. Yeah. And it's
I feel like I am in good hands. It's just the damn scans every now and then,
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah. Well, you thought that when you graduated school, you'd never get tests again. And, and this is kind of like that, you're waiting for the test scores to come in. And where you were terrorized by that every half a year or something like that, now you're terrorized by this. It's I don't
want to say terrorized. I would rather not know. It's been almost 2.5 years, Alex, since I was diagnosed, and I knew something was wrong with me for 6 months before that until they figured out what it was. And I've lived beyond my best by date, The people with pancreatic cancer don't live, very few live more than a year after they're diagnosed. So, hey, I won some kind of lottery here that not only have I been here longer than that, but most of the time feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
So I won the lottery here. I really don't have any complaints.
We're running over, but I just want to ask you a quick question. Your thoughts about Alex Trebek. I mean, he's made his pancreatic cancer very public.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I don't give him much hope.
Well, he wasn't diagnosed until stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
And from what he's told, I'm only operating on what he's said in those little interviews that he's done, is that when he was going through chemo, which apparently he had a much rougher time with chemo than I did. He described just like being curled up on the floor at work with pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I never went through anything that bad at all, nowhere near what he was describing.
Right.
Um, and he just recently recorded a PSA because the 21st of this month will be World Pancreatic Cancer Day. So he recorded it for that. And I think that it's a good thing for someone of his renown, fame, millions of people know who he is, to talk about this, because pancreatic cancer doesn't get enough attention. The main reason is that compared to lung cancer, prostate cancer, a couple of other cancers, many fewer people get pancreatic cancer. It's a rare cancer. So it doesn't get as much attention or as much research money. So it's a good thing.
Well, it is considered to be the deadliest cancer, right?
One of them. Not, I think there's another one that however they measure deadliness, I don't know. But it's up there.
You were very lucky.
From my point of view, it's way too far up there.
We have to get going here, but you were very lucky in that most people have pancreatic cancer just told, go home, say goodbye to your friends and neighbors, you're going to be gone in 6 months. And in your case, they said, we can do something about it, or we can try and do something about it. And they had the operation, and it was horrible. They gut you open like a carp. And then...
Yes, they did.
I mean, really, it was pretty severe as an operation. They remove stuff, they shear stuff off. I mean, it was, but basically, no pancreatic cancer now. But
no, that's not true.
The pancreas has been hit again, or is it just moved to other organs? It moved out to other organs.
My pancreas, my lungs, and my peritoneum, at least, and we'll find out if there are more next week.
Wow. Well, anyway, you're looking good.
Thank you. I feel good, except for a couple little things, but no big deal.
No big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my ex-wife.
That's we spend the whole time on my cancer and Medicare?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Fuck them. I mean, nobody likes to hear what old people have to say, but we're going to say it anyway. I think it's important what you had to say about it. And if more people want to find out what it's like to suddenly get older, timegoesby.net is your blog, and it is terrific. I mean, I read it on a fairly regular basis, and anybody who reads it is, I think, their knowledge is greatly enhanced, and they know the terror they have to look forward to.
Yeah, well, I'm not real good at not telling the truth,
Yeah, right. Good talk to you, Ronnie.
You too.
Ronnie Bennett, ladies and gentlemen.
5 years and still talking. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Ah, yes. And there she was, Ronnie Bennett, doing her thing. And we loved her years ago, and then we love her again now. It's nice, Anyway, listen, I'm turning on the Skype lines now, and you can call and talk to me about whatever you want to talk to me about. Oh, I forgot to turn on the light there. I turned it on during the interview, and I figured I'd turn it on now, and then everything would match, because I always try to wear the same clothes that I wore in the interview, in spite of the fact that we did it earlier today. Whoa. I always got to remember to turn that down. Let's see. Who's calling? It's Charlie Wallace, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see. Once we get a picture on Charlie, I can give him a slot here. Hello, Charlie, you there?
Charlie, you there? I'm here.
Yeah, you're there. Okay, you show me. Turn on your camera.
It's on.
There we go. It's on now. There we go. Because it isn't until I see a camera here that I can. Wait a minute. There's Charles Wallace right at the bottom. There we go. Okay, and hi, Charlie. How you doing?
Doing great.
What you been doing?
I don't know how elections turned out here, but it looks like Kentucky and Virginia, Democrats did pretty good.
Yeah, the governor in Kentucky, was it? I saw Vernon posted a thing, and it was let's see here. Kentucky governor race went to the Democrats, and the Virginia House and Senate are flipped blue. Now that isn't the Senate, is it?
No, state Senate, and state House in Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
Republican before.
You know, it shows that I think maybe Trump has soured people. You know.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of worried in a way. Hello, Jeff. I thought you were going to be out of town.
I'm leaving on Sunday.
Oh, on Sunday. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, this does not bode well for the Republicans. I mean, it was figured that they were going to win races like this, and that we were going to see that there was no perceptible change in those hard red areas. And it looks like maybe at least in one situation we got ourselves a governor who's a Democrat. So it's good. It's good.
That's good for the 2020 census and redistricting. Yeah.
Have you been watching MSNBC this evening?
No, I mean.
Yeah. Are they crowing about this?
I don't think I kept that much on.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know that they were happy that Virginia was getting the job.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a change. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So no Phil tonight or tomorrow night or the night after that because he's in Florida or someplace like that. I don't know. Some hellhole of this country he's going to visit, you know. I'm happy to hear that about the elections and stuff. How are you feeling about all this, Charlie? Are you getting to feel better about it, or?
Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about next year.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump's going to win again.
Well, what they're worried about is whether the impeachment is going to be a factor either to the negative or the positive of the Republicans. You know, and it looks like it hasn't. It has actually hurt the Republicans, not helped them.
Yeah.
You know, so this should probably embolden the Democrats a great deal. You know, I kind of feel that this is their race to lose.
Yeah.
And if anybody can lose a race, you know, snatch defeat from the hands of victory, it's the Democrats.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look at Hillary. You know.
Yeah, she should have won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, somebody else could have done better than she did.
Well, now we say that in retrospect. You know, I never had any great faith in her anyway. I was never, as you may remember, I was not a big fan.
No, but she was better than Trump. She sure wouldn't have done all this crap that Trump's done.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, before we go any further, let me. Martin Scorsese in the New York Times did an op-ed piece today about his statement about Marvel movies. And he said something, and I went, gosh, he must have been listening to me when he referred to these movies as a form of a amusement ride. Because I've described them in the past as being like an amusement ride. And he did exactly the same thing. But he wrote this wonderful thing about, you know, why he doesn't consider them movies. He considers them product, you know, and they are, really. But anyway, so I just thought I would mention that. It's one of my I told you so's. You know. So anyway, I'm tired, so I'm going to go to sleep, and you guys can talk to each other. Okay?
Yeah.
I went to my urologist yesterday, and he stuck a probe up my ass and looked at it with a rectal what is it, rectal, was a rectal sonogram.
Wow.
And then he also did his finger, on top of it, and found nothing. He did not see anything. But they drew some blood, and I said, do you think I'm okay? And he says, well, I can't say. He says, I can't say until I get the blood test in, and I'm armed with more information. But so far, so good, So he didn't want to commit himself. I said, do you think I have something that's aggressive? He said, well, I never can say anything like that till I'm armed with all the information, so. But he did say to me that he doesn't really rush into biopsies. He says he thinks that that's a last-ditch effort that you do. So I think he certainly didn't find anything.
That's good news.
So if my PSA has gone up, I don't know why. For it to be aggressive, you've got to have a tumor down there, and I don't have a tumor. He said he didn't. I said, "Did you see anything?" He said, "No." He said, He said the sonogram isn't 100% that we would see something, but it's if it was something significant, we would see it. He said, and I don't feel anything when I go in there, so so far so good. So he's supposed to let me know.
Feeling better?
What?
Are you feeling better about it?
No. That's me. So Thursday he's going to call me. Thursday he's going to call me and let me know how the blood test came out. He says if it goes up a little, he says I'll see you in 6 months. If it goes down, I'll see you in 6 months. And if it goes up, we'll have to. Depending on how much it goes up, we'll either see you in 3 months or we'll do something about it. We'll go and do a biopsy or whatever. But I said, can it go down? And he said, oh, absolutely. He said, there's no telling where this goes, He's what I like about him as opposed to my last doctor is he's he's not quick to do something. He said to me, look, he said, Medicare pays me $400 to do a biopsy. He said, a biopsy takes me 10 minutes. That's not bad money for 10 minutes work. He said, I could do 200-300 of these if I wanted to. He said, but I don't want to do that. That's not how I make my living. He said, I only want to do biopsies when they're absolutely needed. He said, so we take it a step at a time here, And so far, I think things are looking okay. If he didn't see anything and he didn't feel anything, I'm sure if there was something significant there, he would have seen it on the sonogram. Yeah. Which he said they basically use to tell how big the prostate is. And mine is just average size, which bothers me because I'd like to feel I have a nice, big, tough prostate. But, Anyway, so that was my visit to the doctor. While I was there, I felt very comforted by him. Okay? When I left, I felt good. And girlfriend said, gee, you feel really good, don't you? And I said, yeah. And as the hours went on, I felt less and less good because that's me.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Ronnie, she has to go in for a CT scan in about a week. And she's worried about it because, that's when they go and see if there are any new cancers that have spread to the rest of her body or whatever. And I said to her, I told her, I said, it's not the same with me. I haven't got what you've got, okay? In fact, I hesitate not to even talk about my little possibility of prostate cancer compared to, her pancreatic cancer. But I said, I know what you're saying about that panicking because even I panic over these tests, and I'm beginning to think that if I kind of get out of this and it's maybe gone down or something like that, and it doesn't look like there's not a good chance that I have something here, I just may stop getting these tests, and just say, if I'm going to die of it, I'm going to die of it. I said to her, I didn't know how to say it right, but I said to her that, she's dying of this. We know that. We know that she's, she has a sell-by date, but we don't know what it is exactly. And why should she go get the CT scan? So she knows how far it's gone? You know, if she's going to die of this, then why get all the tests? You know, why do you need that? And am I wrong on that? You know.
I mean, it's a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you can say, you know, I don't care about the result.
Well, no, but if they said
the result will be,
yeah.
I wake up one day and I'm still alive. The next day,
Yeah.
I'm not alive.
But if they said to her, look, you know, we're going to give you a CT scan. If we find more of it, we can do something about that. But there isn't anything they can do about it. They've told her already it's all inoperable. So why get the CT scans? Why terrorize yourself? You know, that might be my theory about it.
Yeah.
And well, I would want to know.
You would want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff?
Oh, I would want to know.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm more of a scientist, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You know, I mean, for instance, I have been terrorized by these PSA tests and by urologists in general for the last 10 years of my life. Okay? It's the one guy, for a while, I didn't even go to one. I just said, that's it. You know, and then I had some problem with my PP. I can't remember what it was. And I decided to go, I had to go find a urologist. But I stopped seeing urologists because every time I went, I got terrorized. I had the one that gave me 2 cystoscopies because he found microscopic blood in my urine, which it turns out now I have all the time. I've had it for the last 15 years that I know of. And I just, you know, the guy, he said, well, we got to give you another cystoscopy. This blood, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I'm going, and then he went in with the cystoscopy, and I said, well, did you see anything? And he said, I didn't expect to. Well, then what did you do it for?
Expect to.
Yeah, what did you do it for? So this is the kind of terrorizing I've had from urologists. And this is the first urologist that at least has a gentle touch to his demeanor, you know, and that I feel won't do anything unnecessary, but he won't not do something that I need. Okay, so I feel good about him. You know, I hope he doesn't have to do something. You know, but it's just, you know, it's just, and it's just, I guess I just live with this thing that all my friends are dying, having strokes or stuff like that. You know. And it's just, it's not good, you know. And here I am. So far, I'm surviving. Why is that? You know. So, it's like Ronnie said. You know, the reason so many people are dying is because you're going to be 80 years old. You know, and you're outliving them all. So, you know, then you pick up the newspaper and there's another movie star or another rock star, you know, that's died, that, you know, hadn't, you know, that was kind of a signpost for your life, you know. So you go, okay, well, they're gone. All right. You know. So, yeah. What are you going to do?
Those decisions that are, you know, that happen to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known a lot of people who've died over the number of years, and always they were the skinniest, healthiest people without any problems.
Yes.
And they didn't smoke. They were all, you know, athletic a certain way, and bingo.
Yeah.
Well, I have a theory.
To find out a little bit further, you might find out that the father had the same life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In fact, of what we would call early death.
I have a thing about working out. So I figure I haven't worked out much in my life. I'll go through spurts of working out. I don't know why I suddenly decided to do it. I haven't done it recently. I'll probably go back and start doing the bike. I stopped doing it because I figured maybe that raised my PSA, that kind of exercise. Well, there were things in my life that have changed since my PSA went up. Number one, I've lost a great deal of weight. And PSAs are pretty low if you're fat because you have more blood going through. It's something. I don't know. I read it online that in a doctor's report that they found that obesity causes lower PSAs. All right. And so, I mean, I lost a lot of weight and I started working out. And all those things in combination could have done something to raise it, so who knows, but I haven't worked out much in my lifetime. And one time I was interviewing Richard Simmons and he almost became apoplectic when I told him this. He said, "You should work out a lot, Alex. Working out's good for you." And I said, "No, I have a theory, Richard." And he said, What's that? And I said, I have a theory that if I don't use my body, it won't wear out. And he then let out with a shriek like I'll never forget. He just, ah! I said, no, that's how I feel about it. Hello, Tony. How are you? You there? There you are, Tony.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Hang it in there.
Yeah. But anyway, what I'm saying is so I have a theory. If you don't use your body, if it won't wear out, I mean, look at Marjorie. Marjorie is she's the workout queen. She's the workout queen. She has more things wrong with her body than all of us combined. Okay? I mean, she's got a bad back. She's got a bad this. She did that. And it was a lot of it, she has to admit, was from all this working out.
She jogged too, right, Alex?
She jogged, she biked,
That kills your knees.
Yeah, I mean, the most exercise I really get is I jerk off, But I do it vigorously, and that helps it gets my heart rate up. How did Minnie suddenly wind up on my watch? I don't want Minnie on my watch. I want Mickey, who says,
"It's 10:58. Good night, pal."
Yeah, I know. I love doing that with my watch. And here's the newest thing I do with my watch. If I double click it, I don't know if you can see it, but what comes up, there's a credit card. And
you got your Apple Card?
Yeah, and it's in the Apple Wallet, and I've got that, and I've got my ATM card. And what I do is I then double click it, and then I hold it up to the thing, like this, anywhere near it, and that's it.
You just keep it.
I don't even have to, so I don't have to pull out my my iPhone or anything like that. Or I can go out without my iPhone, and if I need to, pay for something using the Apple Wallet, I can do it with the watch. So, isn't that cool? I just love science. It's wonderful. And also the thing that I'm doing now is I just bought 2 light bulbs that have Wi-Fi in them.
Light bulbs?
Light bulbs. So
you can turn them off with the thing.
so that I can turn the light bulbs on and off. I'm not going to say it. Well, you've seen this before, haven't you? Echo, turn off network. Excuse me, not network. No, hold on. I'm sorry. Echo, turn off studio. See that? Echo, turn on studio. There we go.
There it goes.
See?
It's amazing how you can do that.
What's nice is the light is all the way over there and it's kind of behind something, so I have to kind of lean in to turn it. So I just walk into the room and I just say, turn on the network, turn on the studio, and it does. And when I go into the guest room, I go turn on the lamp, and it turns on the lamp. I turn on the guest room when it turns on a bigger light that I have in there. It really, I kind of like it. It really does work nicely. And what you have to do is you have to get little, like I got a plug that you plug the plug into that it then has a Wi-Fi in it and picks it up and all of that. And it's like I'm living in the future like I wanted to when I was a kid. Only the future.
Okay, the Jetsons cartoon is becoming more and more reality. Remember, I used to yell at the boss.
No, the Jetsons cartoon will never come into reality because that was such a bad fucking cartoon.
Oh, I liked how they walked Asher on the outside.
It was terrible. It was just. I mean, look, you want to talk about a great space cartoon? Duck Rogers, okay, which is Daffy Duck.
The Jetsons are really the Flintstones.
No, Daffy Duck doing Duck Rogers.
Duck Rogers?
Yeah. You never saw that?
I like Bugs Bunny, actually, the traditional ones. I used to take off from school.
Yeah, but you.
I never saw Duck Rogers. I really did.
You never saw Duck. You watch all that shitty Hanna-Barbera crap.
I love Hanna-Barbera. I used to watch them religiously on Saturdays. I used to watch the show on Friday night that previewed the cartoons for Saturday.
You'll appreciate this. I interviewed Hanna-Barbera once. And I started talking to them about cartoons and stuff. And they said to me, you know more about cartoons than anybody who's interviewed us.
Wow. So they probably appreciate that, too. Yeah. I mean, I love the cartoons on Saturdays.
Yeah. Because I was talking about, oh, God, now I'm going blank on his name. There was a guy that drew Red Riding Hood for the cartoons that were done by Tex Avery. And I knew this guy's name, and I mentioned him, and I talked about him being a great cartoonist. He said, boy, you really know a lot about this. I felt good about that because these two guys who've been in the they were great when they were doing MGM, okay?
Oh, really?
When they were doing MGM cartoons. But when they went and did that television shit, they just ruined animation.
I mean, that was I didn't know any better. I liked the superheroes and things like that. So I was like, oh, wow, this is good.
Yeah, but they were terribly done cartoons. You know.
I know. But
I mean, if you want to see like a superhero cartoon that was well done, go look at Max Fleischer's Superman cartoons that he did.
I got that on DVD,
yeah.
That was good.
They were beautiful. They were gorgeous. Yeah. You know. Oh, man, I can't. Hanna-Barbera, that shit just sucked. You know. And then...
That was Yogi Bear.
Huh?
Yeah,
I thought... You want to know what bothered me about all of that? Yogi Bear. They stole everything. Okay? I mean, the Flintstones were the honeymooners.
Yeah.
And the voices that Dawes Butler did, which I used to love Dawes Butler as a cartoon voice when he was over at Warner Brothers, but when he went to Hanna-Barbera, I mean, he's doing, you know, Yogi Bear was Art Carney, as you know, what's his name?
Yeah,
Ed Norton. That's the voice he was doing. And at one point, Art Carney even said to Hanna-Barbera, I mean, he said, if you wanted that voice, why'd you just give me a call and hire me?
Yeah, you know, that is a good point. He could have did.
Yeah.
He probably couldn't afford him. Alex, you think, or no?
Well, they were doing those things on the cheap. I mean, you know, they found that if they, you know, if full frame animation was 2 cells for every 2 frames, 1 cell for every 2 frames, okay? And if you wanted to get really cheap, you then changed that rate. And what happened was with Hanna-Barbera, they were doing 3 cells a second, you know, instead of 24 or 12, you know. So, I mean, it was just shitty. It was shitty animation.
And I loved it. I didn't know
it. Yeah, and the worst animation was, did you ever see, what was it?
Which one?
God, my mind is just a blank because of these pills I've been taking. They just robbed me of all my memory.
Which one?
I'm trying to think of the cartoon where what they did, Space Ghost, they did this, and they did it with Crash Corrigan.
I never saw that one.
Crash Craddock. I can't remember what the name of the cartoon was, where for animation, they just had a still cartoon face, and then they had real human lips talking them out.
Clutch Cargo was
Kinda
like
Clutch Cargo, that was it.
Yeah.
That was the worst fucking animation of all time. Those people should have been killed. Okay? There should be a death penalty for that. It was just terrible. And, you know, they even still do limited. I mean, if you go over and watch Family Guy, it really looks good, but you have to watch carefully. Because what happens is if you've got, say, Meg Griffin talking, she's all animated. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And everybody else is still. They're completely frozen. You know, and maybe there'll be one little movement every now and then while she's doing her thing. But it works because you get drawn to that character and you don't see the others not doing anything. Okay? And that's the way they save money on the animation. And they also save it by having it done in Korea. So, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. But Tony, I got to get you off all that Hanna-Barbera stuff.
I love
That
it. I
stuff.
used to eat a box of cereal.
I don't care if it was on your box of cereal. It was as cartoons go. It was pure and utter crap.
Oh, I ate it up though. I couldn't get enough. I couldn't get enough of it.
I mean,
I love that.
I'll tell you, if you want to talk about great cartoons, there are two great cartoon things. If anything, basically, in the Warner Brothers universe, within a certain period of time. After about 1955, forget it. If you go back before, when you go back to Leon Schlesinger, yes, so-so. But when you get into that great period of Warner Brothers cartoons with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and Elmer Fudd and that, you know, some of the best cartoons, funniest cartoons ever made. No question about it. And the other guy is Tex Avery, who I have a picture up here. You can't see it from here, but I actually have the Frito Bandito, a cell from one of the commercials for the Frito Bandito. You remember the Frito Bandito? Well, that was animated by Tex Avery. And Tex Avery was just the best. Just the best. So, oh, wait a minute. He's going to go get me something here.
Uh-oh. You mentioned something.
Yeah. Let's see here. Do I have anything else? I have a Ren and Stimpy up here. You can probably see right in back of me. That's not a cell, though. That's an actual drawing that they did for me.
So, do you like these? Can you see these?
What are those? I can't see.
The Scarlet Witch.
What is that?
They're all Marvel.
Huh?
Oh, the old
Marvel.
cartoons?
Yeah. You know those?
Well, I used to have them on DVD too.
Do you know who's doing some interesting animation lately?
Oh, that's nice.
You know who's doing interesting animation these days, by the way, is DC.
Oh, I love their cartoons. I got the DC app. I love it.
Yeah, they're doing some great work with animation.
The Batman animated cartoon series holds up good still. I was watching it from season one, just watching in order. Batman animated.
No. We're not talking about this. We're talking about the movies they're doing.
Oh, I'm on the cartoons again.
No, I'm not the cartoons.
Oh, the actual movie cartoons?
Yeah, not the actual movie. Yeah, the cartoons they've made at full length as movies, like. Oh God, I can't remember the names of them. My mind's a blank. I may as well just go home. Wait a minute, I am home.
Oh, you know what? I saw Gotham by Gaslight on the DC app. That might be one of the ones you like. About when Batman tries to find.
When you say the DC app, are you talking about the DC channel?
Yeah, DC Universe. Yeah, the
DC Universe. Yeah, I have DC Universe. I love DC Universe.
I mean, I watch that more. I tell you, you give me HBO and a couple of these other apps, I'm pretty much good now. Because there's so much on there.
There's too much to watch. I'm sitting here. After Sunday and Monday are here, girlfriend and I have too many things to watch. We're watching Get Shorty. We're watching Godfather of Harlem. I'm watching Watchmen.
Brother loves it.
I'm watching. We're watching. Of course, we watch John Oliver.
Oh, you like
and then we have to watch. Then she has to watch Catherine the Great, and there's a new show out called His. Oh, what's the name of it? God, hold on a second. HBO.
There's so much content. That's good.
I watch Silicon Valley.
Oh, I like that
You
too.
know, that's
I like
that's my thing. Silicon Valley. Let me see here. That's not what I want. I don't want that. Let me see.
Do you think
HBO.
this is the new golden age of television, Alex, with the streaming?
No.
No.
His Dark Materials.
Well, what's that?
It's an amazingly beautifully done show. It's gorgeous with James McAvoy and Lin-Manuel Miranda, Ruth Wilson, and it's a fantasy thing. It's kind of about an alternate world. Okay,
Oh, I would agree with that.
in which they say it's a world like yours and ours, only different. And it's a world in which there are animals who are part human. They're animals, but they have human abilities like talking and things like that.
Wow.
And they are called daemons, and they are the equivalent of human beings. I mean, it's very strange. You got to watch it. It's very interesting.
Sounds
And
like
then I watched
Chronicles-
Silicon Valley, watching Mrs. Fletcher. Okay. I mean, it just doesn't end. I mean, by the time we're through, the Shark Tank. We throw in Shark Tank into all of
My
that.
sister watches that, and I got her on that. Shecky got Shark Tank numbers. This is addicted to it.
Yeah.
Sunday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is I can't talk. I'm watching Shark Tank.
I watched it forever.
And now I've started watching a thing on HBO, not HBO, on Netflix. Is it Netflix? Yeah, it's on Netflix. About this guy they found in Cleveland, who turns out they think to have been Ivan the Terrible, a concentration camp guard who was one of the meanest guards of all time, who used to had a sword as he sent people into the gas chambers. He would cut off women's breasts and cut off people's arms and then throw them in the gas chamber and kill them. And they found him living in Cleveland, or a guy they believed to be him living in Cleveland, and they deported him to Israel, where he went on trial in what was one of the most celebrated trials in the history of Israel. Have you heard about this, Charlie?
No.
I remember it. I remember when it was happening.
Damuniak is his name. I think, I don't know if I have it right.
Something
exactly.
like that. Began with a D, yeah.
Yeah.
How old was he when they got him?
Oh, he was in his
70s or
70s, 60s, late
That's
60s, maybe
amazing.
70s. And I haven't watched the whole thing. I don't remember the case. I vaguely remember the case, but I don't remember how it turned out. So it's kind of like watching a detective drama.
I'm going to watch. I like that type of stuff, the documentaries like that.
This thing is 6 episodes, and they're all about 45 minutes each. Yeah. And so I'm in the middle of that. So I have a lot on my plate, and I better not have cancer, and it better not kill me anytime soon, because I have to finish these shows.
And then you got more shows coming in January.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what worries me.
I love my TV in the winter.
what happens is next week on the 12th, at the end of is it the end of this week maybe? What's the 12th? When's the 12th?
Today is, I think, the 5th.
The 11th is
Let's see. The 12th is the 12th is next Tuesday. Okay,
yeah.
that's
from
the
today.
day the Disney Channel goes
it's gonna
on.
launch,
Disney
that's right.
Plus.
I get to see Star Wars.
You already saw Star Wars.
My brother says there's a
18
TV show, though, now.
Oh yes, they have Mandalorian.
You think it'll be
Yeah.
any good, Alex? I'm going to check it out.
I have no idea.
Oh, I thought maybe you saw a sneak peek or something.
No.
I just saw the trailer a few times. I want to see what we
And
want.
there I've got let's see here. You have all the Disney cartoons.
That'll eat up.
I heard a horrible thing though. What did Shecky told me about this? AT&T is Disney is retiring a whole bunch of old movies from the 40s and 50s.
Do you know the name? Which
No,
ones?
no,
Is that what you came to?
they bought up 20th Century Fox, and so it's a lot of 20th Century Fox films like Grapes of Wrath that are no longer going to be available.
Holy shit, that's a classic, no?
You would think they would put them on the Disney Channel, and then I would really love them. But no, they're taking them out of circulation, so they're not even going to wind up in like Turner Classic Movies or places like that.
Any reason why they do it?
It's the old Disney thing. Remember, they used to have a thing called the Disney Vault. Well, you better buy this before we put it back in the vault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you think this is a way for them to push the merchandise, like buy the movie?
I don't think that's their reasoning. I don't know. I give up on Disney. You know, they just own too fucking much.
Yeah, they're big.
You know, I mean, they've got every major franchise in the world.
Do they got Harry Potter too or no?
No, Harry Potter's Warner.
Oh, okay.
So that's AT&T.
Oh, AT&T got Harry Potter.
They have all the they have all the stuff that Disney doesn't own. You know.
Oh, shit, that's smart.
Yeah. So it's pretty lousy. But anyway, so we got all these shows we watch. We're up to our ass in shows. Oh, and she's watching Catherine the Great. Did I say that? So, you know. Oh, what
There goes the July.
are you farting again? Is that what you're doing?
They're drag racing down my street.
Oh.
Funny, they put a camera in on the light, so when they speed, it flashes off. They'll get a ticket because it keeps me up at night. When they must go a certain speed, the light goes off. They get the plate. That's what they're telling me.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, it's right in front of the house. So when they speed, you'll see it flash off, and they get a ticket. They send it to them digitally.
Oh,
So
good.
that son of a
Good.
bitch got a
That'd be
ticket
nice.
because they speed down here at night. Like, forget about it. That's what you just heard. They fly.
Well, you
down
know
the
what
street.
I have in my neighborhood? I have noise. People just making at 3 o'clock in the morning. They're talking at the top of their lungs, and I'm
See, I
going.
hate that.
Don't you realize you're talking right next to an apartment house? You fucking inconsiderate pieces of shit.
I was just gonna say that's just, yeah. When we used to have the bar down the block on Friday nights, they used to come out drunk, and then sometimes they would fight. And I used to be, and then they'd start shaking hands, and they'd stop fighting again.
I had an
down the
apartment
block.
downtown. I had an apartment downtown at the front, the very bottom of our apartment house, and then over a little bit to the right was a club. Okay, and I guess they did have a sign outside that said, "We have neighbors, please try to keep quiet." But they never, they're too drunk to read that by the time they get outside. So they would start making noise like crazy. So one morning at about 2 o'clock in the morning, they were out there yelling and screaming and everything. And I just said, I've had it with this. And they're right, like I'm up on the 6th floor and they're right under my window. So I go to my cabinet and I get out the biggest pot I can find. And I fill it up with water.
That's funny. You dump the cold water on them, wake their ass up, take it out.
Yeah. It should have been boiling water, but no, it was cold water. And I open up the window, and they're yelling and everything, and I just take it and I just dump it. Now, what's funny is there's a period of time between the time the water hits the ground and the time you've sent it out. This is all physics, folks. So
Yeah,
I throw all the water, dump the whole thing over. I just dump it, right? So that it's in one big glomp is going down, right? And it's nothing. What the fuck? And I went, bingo. And it got quiet. It got really quiet.
Threw a towel out to him.
I should have thrown a towel down.
I don't know who did that, but he has a nice warm towel to wipe yourself off.
Yeah.
I hate that. It is rude because they can't. They got to wake the whole friggin' neighborhood up.
Well, we don't have. I don't think anymore. We people are not civil. We've lost civility. And I think that's an important part of society. Am I sounding like an old fart now?
No, I think you
or do I think that people being civil with other people and being considerate of other people is very important? You know, it's just it's what a society is measured by, so far as I'm concerned.
Like, you want to laugh, Alex? I don't want to sound grumpy, but I was afraid to put a pumpkin in front of my house that blows up because last time we bought one, they slashed it. So now we have to keep all our decorations in the house because when they come out, you're going to have these punk kids. They slashed the pumpkin, they slashed my reindeer, the inflatables. So it's like, Mom was like, you want to get a reindeer for Christmas? Well, we're afraid to.
I'd expect that out of my neighborhood, but not out of yours.
I know. I mean, yeah. Because
do you live in the poor part of Queens? Is that what it is?
I think it's just the bad seeds walking to Queens Boulevard. I think because they get out over here and then they walk all the way to Queens Boulevard to get the train.
Oh, I see.
And I know they're coming.
Because you're not like up in Jamaica Estates like Shecky.
No, not at all. But it's a quiet area. He's in a nice quiet area though. I said it's like Long Island out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You can actually hear the crickets. It's like I can get used to that. Not the car going by 90 miles an hour, waking me up out of a dead sleep.
Well, when I first moved in here, I heard crickets, and I suddenly realized it was air conditioners. So, I didn't have it. Is anybody else going to call tonight, by the way, or is it going to be the party for tonight?
Yeah.
I'm not.
You never know.
I'm not putting this out on Facebook tonight. I decided not to do that because I don't get the kind of numbers and results that I do off of putting it out on Facebook, so it's not worth me doing. I mean, I could put it up on Facebook right now and then yell and scream at everybody for not watching. But let's see. Vernon Dunn says the government doesn't get involved in redistricting.
The governor doesn't.
Yeah, he's got this whole thing going. Oh,
I thought he had to sign the bill.
Yeah.
When they made the districts, I thought he had to sign it.
Yeah. You're saying Ronnie does look good, Charlie. You were saying that online.
Yeah. I love it. He looks great. I like the way her hair grew out. Yeah.
Somebody also wrote, "How's Will Durst doing?" Last thing I heard, improving. Not, head and shoulders and whatever, and moving along at a rapid pace. But I think he's out of the ICU now. But he may be in the hospital for another, I think I read 3 months.
Oh my
Good Lord.
Yeah. How long were you in after your stroke, Jeff?
Took me a year.
Oh.
Wait a minute,
really to get up to be able to talk and communicate and go back to work, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, but how long were you in the hospital?
Oh, it wasn't very long at all. You talking about from the surgery?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that bad. I don't know. A couple of days. Maybe a week.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't know. What was the last word here? Hold on a second. Oh, that's wrong. I don't want that. Let me see here. There we go. I'll tell you in a second.
But is he in a specialty place that's
he's in a hospital. Will was moved to St. Mary's Hospital's acute rehab facility. He's completed day 2 of OT and PT. What's OT? I know what PT is, that physical therapy. But
occupational therapy.
Occupational therapy, right. Yeah. And speech therapy. They work with patients at least 60 to 90 minutes on each, and he's beat but ready to improve. He's sleeping right now, blah, 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 blah. And then so that's he'll be here for another at least 2 to 3 weeks, until they feel he can have move to another rehab facility or go home. So, it's all baby steps, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah.
It's all right. Just keep working on it. It's hard. It takes a lot of effort.
Now, what are the chances of him having another stroke? Or is strokes not like heart attacks? They're a different animal.
Well, it depends upon what the cause was.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I had a stroke is because I was taking a drug that was called Coumadin, and it often caused bleeders.
Mhm.
So it was a certain risk that was going to happen. But at that point, I stopped taking it.
Right.
And I started using some other stuff. And then ultimately, they had the reason that they had to take the drug is because I had a mechanical valve.
Yeah.
And
The
they
big
had
valve.
to valve out and put one in that's an animal valve.
Yeah.
Which
Also, they had to go back in then too. So you got the pig valve like my brother has now. He had that done.
I have actually I have two. I have a
Two?
pig valve
Yes.
and a cow valve.
Yeah, I had to get tested for that.
What
My
if you're
brother
what
had
if you're
this.
what if you're kosher?
Oh yeah. I didn't put it in to keep you alive. You know, that was scary actually. My
Rabbi
brother
says you're not eating it.
What?
The rabbi told me once.
he told him.
You're not eating it.
We're talking about it, and he goes, he says, you're not eating it. Don't worry about it. You're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Why? Oh yeah, I know why we don't eat pork. Okay.
What did it say? It was the way it was. Was it the way they killed the animal? I
No,
think, or?
no. It had to do with the fact that these were actually dietary laws that were actually like for healthy living. In those days, and even today, to this day, that if you don't cook pork enough, it used to give you trichinosis, and then you would die. So pork was a very deadly food for people to eat, and that's why pork was considered non-kosher. It's halal, non-halal as well in the Muslim world, and I guess the Chinese with Buddhism didn't care whether they died.
Did they really?
They'd
eat
rather
cats?
have their ribs than
Wasn't that true? They said they ate cats in China or something, or no? Didn't they say, "Oh, you never see cats," but the Chinese
I
like to
think
eat cats? Or is that
a
just a
dog.
folklore?
Dogs.
Really? Dog?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, if you do it as a with a nice sauce, they're usually pretty good.
Oh my god.
It's just, a little Bernaise sauce, I think, works nicely on dog. What kind of wine goes with dog? Anybody know?
I don't know. I bet you Phil might know. He likes his steak. I don't know. What would you drink for it? Oh, did you that steakhouse in Peter Luger's got a bad rating? I heard.
What?
It was on the
Really?
news. They got one of the, I forgot who on the news ate it. They said it was overpriced and the service was bad and food was not up to snuff. The first time they ever got a bad rating.
Well, Peter Luger's been there for so long. They probably gotten lazy.
Good, you went. Was
Huh?
it good?
I never been to Peter Luger's.
Oh, then maybe you went there.
No.
I know in the supermarket you can buy
There
the sauce.
used to be
Huh?
they used to have a second place. I don't think they still have it anymore. A
Peter Luger's, for
secondary-
people who are listening to us and don't know what we're talking about, it was a fairly well-known steakhouse here in New York. But I never went to them because I figured they were probably highly over.
That's what the guy said.
Yeah.
He said it was just the food wasn't worth the price. And they don't even take charge cards. I was looking on their website. Do you have to either pay with cash or their charge card?
Or their
Almost
charge card. Huh?
Their charge card. They won't take anything else.
So you have to bring cash. They won't take a check.
to bring cash.
They won't take a check.
I'm not sure. They might take a check, but hopefully it don't bounce, bud. I
You
don't
know something?
And everything's a la carte.
I got to tell you this, and this is horrible. A while back, I think it was my urologist that I was going to. He didn't take credit cards, right? And so consequently, I get a bill from him, a copay, and I gotta send him a check. Well, to begin with, I have to go looking for my checks, and the only checks I have, and they're still good, I can still use them, are from a bank that no longer exists. They were absorbed by another bank, but I guess I got checks from that new bank, and I'm trying to remember what the old bank was. It wasn't Chemical. It was something else. It was one other bank, and I have the checks in there. And so I got one of those out because I know they'd cash okay, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to write the check, and I can't remember how to fucking write a check.
Mhm.
Shit.
You know,
Really?
well, you got to do that whole stuff with $53. You know, $53 and 23 cents, and then you know what I just couldn't remember how to write out a check. It was just horrible. And then it came time for my signature.
Oh,
I
I
don't
forget.
have a signature anymore.
Neither do I. I've been illiterate
Yeah.
with the signature.
Yeah, I have no signature any longer. If I start doing, to begin with, if my name were Bob Jones, I think I could hack it. Okay?
You gotta-
But my name is Bennett Schwarzman.
I feel bad for you. That's a long one.
And by the time I get to the R in Schwarzman, it's just, I go, I just, you know. So everybody out there, you know how to forge my name now. You know. Yes, what?
My cell phone crashed today,
Yeah.
maybe last night, but anyway. So I had to go get another cell phone, and anyway, so it doesn't work. You can't call, nothing. So the guy says, well, you gotta know the 4 letters code to set this up. And I said, oh, crap. He says, well, maybe you ought to call your wife. And I said, I don't remember her phone number.
Yeah, because it's off speed dial.
That's right.
I don't know Marjorie's phone number. I have no idea. I have to look it up. Like sometimes I go down to the to pick up her stuff from the pharmacy, and they have her credit card on file. But in order for me to get it, I've got to give the last 4 digits of her phone number, and I have to go look it up.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't remember it. You know, and she can't. But to be truthful, she can't remember my phone number.
No, I'm sure.
I mean, we just don't. We don't need those. We don't need those numbers anymore. They're almost insignificant. No. And I'll tell you, what happens is people, for instance, will live in California. Let's say they live in San Francisco and they've got a 415 area code, and they move to New York with their cell phone. AT&T doesn't change their area code anymore.
It's still 415.
You keep your old 415. Big deal. You keep your 212 in New York or your 646. You know, if I move to California and I go, now I'm living in California, now send me the mail here, I'll still have a 646 number. They don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. You know.
That's right.
I mean, I got to tell you, folks, you know, there was a time in this world when people like myself and Jeff and perhaps maybe Charlie, but not, I think, so much Tony, when we would call someplace like San Francisco, it would cost a fucking fortune.
Yeah.
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 It was like, and it was by the minute or 3 minutes. Was it 3 minutes? Yeah. It was like by 3 minutes. Like $1 for 3 minutes.
Holy shit. So if you were on the phone with your mom for 10 minutes to California, holy shit.
Yes. So, I mean, it was ridiculous. And then all that changed. And all that changed. A lot of that changed because they deregulated the phone company. And everybody else could get in the phone business. And people came along like MCI and gave cheaper rates and things like that. And now you buy a cell phone and you get yourself some AT&T monthly service. You can call anywhere in the United States. They don't give a shit. Yeah. You can talk for as long as you want to. They don't care.
You can call in the world.
Hmm?
You can call anywhere in the world.
You can call out of the United States, it still costs a fortune.
Yeah. CNN projects that the Democrats will now control Virginia's Senate, House of Delegates, and the governor's office for the first time in more than 2 decades. So that's good. Andy Beshear, a Democrat, obtained victory in Kentucky's governor's race. Okay. So this is looking very good. Yep, yep. But incumbent Republican Governor Matt Brevin says he is not conceding.
Well, no, he's not.
You know, he will. He'll have to concede, I'm sure. But you know, I mean, it's amazing. It's just amazing how everything has changed that way, and how our communications and the cost of using a phone. I mean, Marjorie and I were talking about it. Here's a good question to throw out to you. Which is the more important invention, the iPhone or the iPad?
Oh, I would say the iPhone.
Well, think about it for a second.
Okay.
I don't even have an iPad.
Yeah, but you go to a hospital. They got them everywhere.
You're right about that.
They got them everywhere. You go into restaurants. What are they using for, you know?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
iPads. I think the iPhone was an important thing that gave way to the iPad, which is then being used more as a tool, I think, than the iPhone is. But you go on a train here in New York City. When I say a train, I mean the subway. And you sit there and watch around the car, and everybody's on their phone. Everybody.
Yeah. I love the phone.
There's nobody sitting there looking around, you know. Everybody's looking at their phone.
Right. That's a good thing. You observe. It's like everybody's got a computer in their hand. It's
well,
amazing.
no, we have desocialized ourselves.
Yeah.
We've opted out of society. Looking at your phone is saying, "Don't talk to me."
Mm-hmm. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's text.
Did it get too good technology? And it got too good?
How many of you guys text every day?
I text.
My sister texts me, so I text every day.
You know, I mean, I text from my watch. I don't. By the way, I don't tap it out anymore. I now dictate it.
I can't even remember the last time I talked to my kids on the phone. It's always texting back and forth.
Well, here's what I always found was interesting is that, okay, you text somebody. Where do you text them to? What's the number you use? It's their phone number.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So while you're there, you have a choice of either texting them or phoning them. Yeah. Why don't you just phone them and talk to them directly? And the answer I've gotten is sometimes you just don't want to talk to people. Really. Sometimes you just don't want to talk to people. So that's what it's come to.
That's true. She drives me nuts.
You know?
The thing about texting, though, is you can text it and it sits there until they're ready to look at it, whereas they might be busy and they can't pick up the phone and talk to you right then.
Well, what I hate is if you get in a rolling text thing where you're talking to somebody and somehow they write something and then you write a reply to them, but while you're replying to them, they're writing another thing to you, and somehow you don't know the synchronization, the way things synced up.
Yeah, like I'm still 3 sentences back. And he's
you know what I hate more than anything else? Do you ever go to, sometimes you have to use it. You go for technical support somewhere and you use their chat.
Oh, I haven't.
That is annoying as fuck.
Yep.
Because you write something and then they write something. And then they ask you a question and you answer it. But by the time you're going, they're writing something while you're writing something. And so nothing's in order. And it drives me fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's almost like that's not customer service.
And the other day I was doing something. I had to use a chat because I had to somehow get through to this company to find out what was wrong with their service. And I talked to this one guy, and he was from a foreign country, and I couldn't understand a word he said, so I thought I'd try the chat. And the guy who was doing the chat must have been the same guy I talked to because it was just as bad.
Oh, you can read out.
Yeah. And finally, I wrote on the chat, I said, you guys are totally useless. Goodbye. You know? I mean, it's just, but this is what's happened. We've, we thought in the future things would get better. And things are just as bad as they've always been. It's just a different kind of bad. You know, so I don't know. Am I sounding like an old fart here? What?
No.
Well, I think the one change is the cell phone is becoming more and more a computer.
Oh, it is.
In other words,
Oh,
it
no.
has kinds of capabilities that it didn't have.
You have more power in this phone than Apollo 11 had going to the moon. You know, if they had the power this had, they would have done a lot more things.
Yeah.
We have. It's amazing how much power you have in these phones. I mean, they are computers, and in fact, a lot of these pads are giving way to computers. A lot of the stand-up computers, like I'm using here, or down here, have given way to pads doing approximately the same stuff. It's just I can't do the same kind of heavy lifting to do this show, for instance, on a pad that I can do on my computer. Which, by the way, today, for some reason, completely lost the internet. Wouldn't go onto the internet. I think I've got a virus in this thing. And I have a virus catcher, but apparently it isn't finding it. So, you know, I just figure every computer, if you leave it on for a couple of days, will freeze up somehow. You know, you always have to reboot them. Yeah. So. We should be able to have a automatic thing that reboots your machine like once a day when you're not there, just so it's all fresh, you know. But anyway, we have, you know, I was hoping when I was a kid that I would live long enough, and I didn't know. I said, well, I live to be, 70 so I can see something. And now I've lived to be 80, and I'm seeing all this stuff, that I only dreamed about when I was a kid, and I thought it would be a better world, and it isn't. It isn't. And my greatest depression in all of this, I've got to tell you, it's very important, is that of all the promises that I thought I would have, I do not have a robot butler or a robot maid. And I thought I was going to have that,
Yeah, Jetsons, yeah.
Well, you know what? You do have the little things, what are the things to put on the floor and they vacuum?
The Rombas, or what are they called?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what somebody at Play TV, at Play Incorporated. In fact, it was my friend Paul Montgomery, God bless him, is long gone, said. He said, we all thought the future was going to be the home of the future. We didn't realize what we were going to get. This was an interesting comment, was the office of the future. That in fact, what you've got here isn't the home of the future. This is the office of the future. And that the things we thought we were going to get in our home, we really haven't gotten. I mean, hey, Echo, turn off the studio. There you go. See? Now I have mood lighting. Echo, turn on studio light. Could be
In fact, the most use I get out of my phone is work. I can do Excel, I can do Word, I can do all that stuff on my phone.
Yeah. You can, right, exactly, yeah. Exactly. So what's happened is we're living in the office of the future. And the problem with that is that in the old days, when I was a kid, that was a long time ago now, when I was a kid, when you went home from work, you went home from work.
Yeah. You couldn't work anymore.
There was no way when you went home that you could work. And by the way, home was a safe place because there was no way they could get you. Yeah. Oh, they could call you, but most of the time they didn't because they weren't near a payphone. Okay? Remember a payphone? You ever see a payphone lately?
Oh, I did like no paper.
They don't even exist any longer.
Yeah,
Which is great because in New York
I
they
paid for
were
it myself.
yeah, people were using them as toilets. So I mean,
Yeah.
but you had an 8-hour day and then you were through work and you went home. Now you're always on call. We're lying there watching TV, and all of a sudden Marjorie goes, "Oh, gotta do something," and then she goes to the computer and has to check why somebody's credit card at her office wasn't working in Hong Kong. And in other words, you go home. That's not the end of the day. And I told one of my bosses at Sirius, my program director, I said, "You know what you really should do? You should promise me that you're going to go home and you're going to turn off your cell phone." Because the night before I had texted him something, and I didn't want an answer then. I could wait till the next morning, but I just wanted to let him know about something. And all of a sudden, he's writing me back, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm going, "Don't you ever have you time?" People, truthfully, don't have an 8-hour day anymore. They're always on call. So is that healthy? But you wouldn't know about this, Tony, because in your job,
Oh God. Always
His home.
you're always on call.
I know. At least she's sleeping now. I hear her cutting wood. I gave her 2 Tylenol PMs out like a light.
What do you mean cutting wood?
She's snoring. The little woman is
I'll tell you
snoring.
what, it's making me loopy, and I can't remember shit. But
she snores for a little short woman.
But these pills that I get
I may have
put
to
me
pop one,
at
so.
night, put me out. Just I'm gone.
Okay.
Yeah, this it's the Lyrica is what it's called, is the brand name. These are the generics called pregabalin. So I just they just put me out, but they also make me loopy. I don't I can't remember stuff. Like I would love to remember the guy who used to draw in the Tex Avery cartoons, and I can't remember.
Do you want me to Google it for you?
No, I could Google it. Hold on a second. I'll tell you in a second. You see, and when I see the name, I'm going to go, "Oh boy."
I'm curious on who it really
Tex
is.
Avery, Red Riding Hood, cartoonist. Okay, this was the guy who designed it. Tex Avery release, Wikipedia, and Red Riding Hood. Yeah, but it doesn't say who drew her. His name was, God damn it! Why don't I know his name? Animated film by Tex Avery. Does it have any credits? No. It doesn't list his name. Well, this guy was terrific. He was the guy who designed Red Riding Hood. Let's see here. There's a Wikipedia thing. Let me see here. Do they have? No, they don't. Son of a bitch. I'll remember. I'll get his name the next. All I have to do is look at one Tex Avery cartoon, and the credits will be there. Well, wait a minute. Here's a Red Riding Hood cartoon. Let me just. Let me play it, and I'll just play it here. But I will make sure that I've got the. There we go. Hold on a second. I'm watching the Red Riding Hood cartoon. I had to turn off the audio. Directed by Tex Avery, and then the name of the. Okay, what? It didn't have the credit on there? They should have. Son of a bitch! They didn't have the credit. There's that. Red Riding Hood by Tex Avery. And then they didn't have the credit? That's ridiculous. They always used to have a credit of all the people that did the cartoons. Somebody cut it out. Looks like. Let me see here. Tex Avery, Rural Red Riding Hood. Okay, let's see if they have it here. By the way, Rural Red Riding Hood, one of the greatest cartoons ever made, folks. Skipping 3, 2, 1, skip. Okay. Here we go. Wait a minute. Skip ad. What is another ad? A 26-second ad for Tom Steyer. Fuck him. I'm not voting for him. Okay? This is amazing. Use cookies. No, you don't get my cookies. Oh, okay. Hold on a second, folks. Are you there?
How about your little talking?
Huh? What?
How about your little
How
talking
about Echo?
machine?
Can you ask Echo?
Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I bet Echo doesn't know. But okay, here come the credits again. Directed by Tex Avery. Okay, now the next card should be who the cartoonists are. Here we go. Here we go. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. No. Producer Fred Quimby. Wait a minute. His name isn't on here? Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. That son of a bitch. Let me see here.
Cut him out like it didn't
Walter
exist.
Clinton, Scott Bradley, Rich. Huh. Well, that's weird. I don't know. I'll find it out. I'll figure it out later. I'll come up with an answer on it for you.
Wake up in the middle of the night and the name will pop in.
Yeah, but he did Red Riding Hood, who was maybe the sexiest cartoon character of all time. If I ever wanted to fuck a cartoon character, it was Red Riding Hood. And well, wait a minute. Okay, let's see here. She's just gonna say Tex Avery. Echo. Who drew Red Riding Hood in the Tex Avery cartoons?
Sorry, I don't know that.
See, she doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'll tomorrow. You know what it'll be? I'll be lying in bed tonight, going to sleep, and all of a sudden I'll go boom, and I'll have it. And that's my dementia at work. Okay. Because
Happens to all of us.
I used to remember this guy's name like it was my own. And right now I can't come up with it to save my life, you know. But he was a guy that worked for Tex Avery and specifically drew Red Riding Hood, you know. I can't come up with his name right now. But I'll do it later. So anyway, anybody else have that kind of dementia?
Yeah.
I mean, well, Jeff, you're forgetting a lot, and I'm sure you are too at 69.
Yeah.
Charlie, you're
Happens to me all the time.
well. Then you can imagine what's happening to me, and it's these fucking goddamn pills. If I stopped taking them, I would remember it, you know. But I can't remember it, so it's. Sucks.
I used to say that surgery was my friend. My cardiologist told me, she goes, "No, it's not your friend. It's using your brain, and every time you have surgery, you give up some of your brain."
Really?
No, not. Yeah.
Surgery is that profound on your psyche?
Because the medications are very demanding.
Well, you know what I said was I have never been operated on. I've never had an incision made into my body. And I kind of am happy about that because I think your body is a hermetically sealed envelope, as it were, and that by cutting into it, you break the seal.
Sure do.
You know, and I've never had any surgery up until this point, you know.
I have a lucky 13.
What?
I've had 13 surgeries.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you've had the toes, right?
Yeah, well, 3 of them were getting my 6 toes cut off. Yeah.
Oh, 3 of them were getting your 6 toes cut off. So what were the other surgeries?
Oh, knee, foot, 2 back surgeries, 2 eye surgeries. Of course, my vasectomy is one of the surgeries.
Yeah.
Oh, a bunch of stuff.
Wow, you just, well, okay, you know.
I have to write them down when I go to the doctors, or else I won't remember all of them.
That's true.
What I like is when they ask me what pills I'm taking.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to come up with an answer to that one.
I got to open up my cell phone, otherwise I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, folks, this is what it's.
Didn't you ever go to the dentist though? Did you ever have dental surgery?
Yeah, but that's never they don't. They're not in. They're not cutting your body open with that. They're pulling something out of your mouth, or they're drilling into there, or they're doing something to the nerve, but they're not actually breaking into the hermetically sealed thing that's your body. I mean, even if you go to get I don't know, let's say I got a what do you call it, for my prostate, what's the
biopsy?
Biopsy. That's not really invading. It's simply going in to an area
Yeah,
you
I
could
wasn't even counting that.
What?
I wasn't even counting the 2 biopsies I've had.
Oh, really? What'd you have biopsies on?
Well, I had an allergic reaction to bug bites, and so they took a chunk of skin out to do a biopsy on
Boy,
that.
I didn't know you were that much of a mess, Charlie.
I'm telling you, it's been falling apart for decades.
He smiles nice.
Oh boy.
I gotta tell you, I talked to a friend the other day, and she's gonna go to the dentist, and she's gonna have a lot of implants put in.
Yeah.
All of her teeth put out. And she says to me, she says, on Monday I'm gonna have a whole bunch of implants put in. And I looked at her and I said, they look fine. I'm looking at you. They look great from here. So rather than looking at her teeth, I'm still looking down here at her chest.
At her what?
I looked at her chest.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Look fine.
She shouldn't worry about it. I mean, the implants are fine. I've had them. They're a no-brainer, really. Anyway, that's it for tonight. We didn't have many people calling tonight, but so what? It's been a nice little crowd here. Nice little kind of, it's like having a tea, okay? Whatever, or coffee, or whatever. Anyway, hey, listen, that's it for tonight. Thank you very much, Charlie. I appreciate it. And Jeff, I appreciate it. And Tony, I appreciate it. The regulars who keep me alive here while all other people don't call me. Anyway, boy, I'm still trying to remember that guy's name. And it's not even kind of closely coming to me yet. But it will. Don't worry. As soon as I sign off here, I'll remember it. Anyway, what I would do, guys, if you can do it, is I would wave goodbye to the audience out there, and I will wave right back at you. Okay? There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the citizen panel for tonight. Small one, but mighty. Okay? And Phil won't be here tomorrow night, so all the guys who normally won't call because Phil is here don't have to worry about Phil being here. I will, however, right after. Well, let's see. Tomorrow night we've got the sports show with the franchise MC. That will be on at 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, and then at 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time, it's the Exchange with Damian Chaplin. I'll be back tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, Tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. See you later.